Look, we all love our dogs, right? I mean, they're not just pets, they're family. That bond feels completely unbreakable. It's built on all the cuddles, the long walks, the shared moments. But what if we're missing something huge? What if the way our dogs show love and, maybe more importantly, a lack of it, is written in a language we just don't fully get? So today, let's dive into that unspoken language and figure out what they're really trying to tell us.
Okay, wow. That's a tough one to swallow. That quote comes straight from a dog behavior expert with 2 decades in the field, and it's really meant to make us stop and think. But listen, this isn't about making you feel bad. It's all about opening our eyes to a much deeper level of communication that's happening right in front of us. So let's just take a deep breath here. This is not about your dog secretly disliking you. Not at all. It's about learning to decode the super subtle, often silent signals they're sending when they feel uncomfortable or unsafe or just a bit distant. Once we learn their language, we can take our relationship from what might be one-sided affection to a true two-way bond. All right, so our first stop is a really fascinating one. Understanding what our dogs are saying when they aren't making a single sound. You know, their bodies are talking constantly. We just need to learn how to listen with our eyes. So I want you to think about this for a second. When you try to catch your dog's eye, do they suddenly get really, really interested in a spot on the wall? Or maybe they duck their head or just consistently look away? This isn't them being rude or shy. It's a crystal clear signal. And this is where it gets really interesting because it completely flips how we see this behavior. In their world, in dog language, a direct stare can feel like a challenge, a threat even. So when they look away from you, they're actually trying to be polite. They're actively trying to de-escalate what they feel is a tense situation. They're basically saying, hey, I don't want any trouble, and I just don't feel safe enough to hold your gaze right now. But here's the best part. This is totally fixable. The number one rule is to never, ever force it. Don't hold their face or try to stare them down. That just makes it way worse. Instead, you're going to build a new positive connection. Try using soft eyes, just gentle glances, then you look away. And when they choose to look at you, even for a split second, calmly say good and give them a treat. You'll turn eye contact from a threat into a treat.
Okay, get ready for this next one, because this is a mind blower for a lot of people. We've all been taught wagging tail equals a happy dog, right? Well, not so fast. Believe it or not, studies show the direction of the wag is like a secret code. A wag that's happening more on their right side, that's all good vibes, happiness, excitement. But a wag that's biased more to the left, that's a huge sign of anxiety, uncertainty, and negative feelings. It's a tiny detail that can tell you everything in an instant. So we've talked about the quiet stuff, the silent signals, but what about the really obvious actions? Let's move on, because their deliberate movements and the choices they make can tell an even clearer story about the state of your relationship. Ugh, this next one. This one can really hurt. You walk into the living room and your dog just gets up and leaves. You sit down next to them on the couch and suddenly they have urgent business in the other room. Does that sound familiar? I'm telling you, it is not a coincidence. Your dog is literally voting with their feet. They are using physical distance as a coping mechanism to get away from something that makes them uncomfortable. You. It's a deliberate choice. And listen, it's super important to say, if this is a new thing, a sudden change in behavior, your first stop, no exceptions, is the vet. You have to rule out pain or any health issues first. So what's the fix? Well, you've got to flip the script. You have to reverse the chase. The next time they leave, don't follow them. Don't call their name. Just let them go. Instead, you go to another room and create a little intrigue. Crinkle a treat bag, get out a favorite toy. You become a magnet for fun, and you let their own curiosity bring them back to you. They get to choose to come back, and that changes everything. And that whole idea of letting them choose, that brings us to a huge concept, consent. This even applies to something as simple as petting. Instead of just reaching out and petting your dog whenever you want, try this. Offer your hand and just wait. Let them close the distance. Pet for just a few seconds, then pull your hand away. If they nudge you or lean in for more, great. If not, you respect that. Giving them this choice, this control, builds trust faster than almost anything else you can do.
All right, now we're going to get into the really tough stuff, comparing how your dog acts with you versus how they act with other people. This is where the truth about your bond can really come into sharp focus. Okay, tell me if this sounds familiar, because it is so frustrating. You call your dog's name, nothing. Crickets. Then your partner or your kid says their name in the exact same tone, and the dog comes running. You know they can hear you, so why are they ignoring you? This table just lays it all out, doesn't it? When they respond to someone else, it's because they see that person as a reliable leader, a source of good things. When they ignore you, it's because over time, your voice has stopped meaning something worthwhile is about to happen. And the chip bag? Come on. That's all the proof you need that their ears are working just fine.
So the fix for this is a little radical, but it works like a charm. It's called a voice vacation. For 1 week, you basically stop talking to your dog. No nagging, no repeating commands, no who's a good boy chatter. The only time they hear your voice is right before something amazing happens, like you're about to put their food down or grab the leash for a walk. You're completely rewiring their brain to make your voice valuable again.
And this is really the turning point, the big aha moment of all of this. Your dog isn't doing these things to be stubborn or to spite you. They're not being bad. These behaviors are just symptoms of a much deeper issue, a fundamental lack of trust and a feeling of being unsafe in the relationship. And the good news is that is something we can absolutely fix. Okay, so that brings us to our final and honestly most important section. We've gone through the problems, now let's focus completely on the solutions. How do you actively rebuild that connection and become the person your dog wants to be around? I absolutely love this quote from the source material. It's just so powerful and so empowering. It's not a lost cause. Your dog is right there, waiting for you, to give them a reason to trust you again. You just have to decide to be that reason. So how do you actually do it? It really boils down to these three things. First, for a while, you become the gatekeeper of everything amazing. Food, treats, walks, you name it. Second, you prove you're listening. When they give you a signal, like that left-sided tail wag or moving away, you give them space, instantly. And third, you build everything on a foundation of patience and consent, letting them choose to interact with you. It's all about building them up, not breaking them. So, as we wrap this up, the real question isn't about your dog anymore, it's about you. After hearing all this, what's the one small change you can make today, right now? Are you going to try the voice vacation, practice consent-based petting, or maybe just start paying closer attention to which way that tail is wagging? The path to a better, stronger bond starts with just one step, with trying to see the world a little more like they do.